my face. Maybe that's the reason why.
Or maybe it's your other mic. Maybe are you wearing? Is it your headset mic?
Mm-mm. No, these are just headphones. Ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs, as part of our banter, welcome to the Beacon Roundtable. Yeah, me, you got Jangle here as we talk about the week's crypto news, get our takes and analysis for things that are going on things that should be on your radar here in the space. Jangle hair looks good. You look well lit, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lot of interesting movement. We're a little choppy with all of the Bitcoin ETF news. There's a lot of movement going around. Probably not a lot of. There doesn't seem to be a lot of buying at the moment. There's a lot of chop, and people are curious as to why the price has gone down for Bitcoin. What are your thoughts on this so far?
More people hitting sell than buy. No, I mean this is pretty normal to have volatility in crypto. Who would have thought? I don't think it means that we're not in a structural bull market. You know, there are many negative 10%, negative 20%, even negative 30% days for the overall crypto market cap in the midst of pretty much every major bull market. So if you're asking why is price go down, and it's any worry or anxiety, and it's any more than just like a curiosity, then you're probably overinvested. You're probably improperly allocated. This is incredibly normal, and in fact, I think it was just like last week on Friday on our Friday call that I said that there's like a 70% probability that we break below 40K at some point in time. And if you're underallocated throughout this bull, or if I was underallocated throughout this bull market of the last year or so, that 38, 39K stink bids wouldn't be too shabby. I think we did end up hitting like 38,100 on Bitcoin at one point. So yeah, it's just normal. You get people get overconfident during bull markets, they lever up, there's liquidation cascades. It's just what happens. So especially when you have a run up like we've had over the last 6 months, you're just going to have some volatility. I wouldn't overthink it.
That's exactly what I was hoping you would say. Just as to kind of keep the room temperate. Obviously, this is not the time to take leverage. So hopefully nobody is taking a supreme amount of leverage. It's not the time to take a nasty short out or anything like that. With leverage, you're just gonna get wrecked. So be vigilant, be disciplined, and know that this comes with the territory. Speaking of things that come with the territory, more money coming in means more bad actors. So, a couple of things to really talk to you guys about. I definitely want you guys to be very vigilant over the next couple of months. Protect yourself. One of the leading market hardware wallet companies, Trezor from Satoshi Labs, had essentially an exploit or a breach on their support portal, which led to the names and email addresses of roughly 66,000 people being released out into the wild. Obviously, data breaches happen quite frequently, but just know that for the specific context here, you may start seeing emails asking you to click on things. That would be a bad idea for you to interact with those emails because they're going to be not in your favor. Also, they can probably cross-search your email and name with a phone number. There could be multiple ways where you could be pulled into a phishing situation. So just be very careful out there about what's going on. There is potential exposure on various fronts. And we'll talk about another breach that I just learned about this morning that probably a little bit sketchier, to be quite honest. But just be very vigilant. If you're watching us live, if you attend any of our calls, just know, be very vigilant. There's going to be a lot of ways out there that bad actors are going to try and separate you from your money, specifically in this bull market where everything is probably going to go up.
Yeah, I mean, once your data's out there, it's hard to undo that. So this is an ounce of prevention and a pound of cure sort of situation. But moving forward, um, you should be that weirdo who refuses to give anybody their real phone number. You should be the person who has like dozens of different email addresses so that anytime you are signing up for something, it's not with any email that you check regularly or that you need. There's a few different services that can help make this a lot easier. So, like Apple has Hide My Email, where you can make proxy emails for every individual service and have those email addresses forward to your actual email address. And so that way, if there is a data breach for Trezor, you can go to Hide My Email, say, what email did I give Trezor? And then you can just delete that email. So you don't get communication forwarding from that email address anymore. Simple login, I think, is another one that does that. I think Google has a service for it. So proxy email addresses for everything. There's like not a single service that I sign up with that has my primary email address. And then of course, like for financial services, a Coinbase account, a bank account, brokerage accounts, those sorts of things. Those can be unique email addresses that you don't use anywhere else that are specifically made for that particular service. So you know that if you're getting an email from something that pretends to be your bank, it's not going to not going to your bank email. So it can't be legit because your bank is the only service that has that email, and no other service has that email, and that email is not linked with any other service. So whenever there is a breach like this, you can just disable your proxy addresses that are linked to that thing. So that's just like cyber hygiene, maybe not 101, maybe 102, but proxy addresses for everything. And then you will not have to worry about this if there's ever a breach. If you end up putting your phone number in everything that asks, if you end up putting your actual email address in everything that asks, then it's going to get out like not just once, but like 100 times. Like it doesn't take more. It takes one data breach to have that email address or that phone number be inundated with spam and phishing attacks. And especially when it's a high value, high target email or phone number, like something linked with Ledger or something linked with Trezor, you're really going to be in for some spam and some phishing attacks.
Yeah, one thing we tell all of our membership is to compartmentalize your risk by having a crypto only email. It might even behoove you to have a protocol specific email. So let's say that you're using a password manager, use a different email for that. If you're using, you're signing up for Coinbase, use a different email for that. You want to be able to specifically isolate your risk. So in the event that something like that gets to you, it doesn't take all of your stuff. I've used this example multiple times at a friend of mine who he got yoinked. They found out his email was the same for his password manager, which was linked to his utilities, his mortgage, his Netflix account, various things. Obviously, very inconvenient. So don't put yourself in that situation. Be very vigilant about your what we call OPSEC or operational security. Very important to make sure that you stay ahead of that, specifically in this space. Moving forward, another breach happened. MailerLite. This one's interesting because I've heard of some recent exploits from people in my circle that I don't know if this is related, but it possibly could be. Basically, they also had a support breach, and basically their service was.
Are you trying to screen share?
Oh,
no.
Yeah. Sorry.
Whoops.
Oops. 3.3 million lost in crypto phishing attacks through MailerLite. They were basically they were looking at Web3 firms to impersonate, and basically they targeted multiple accounts and have gotten more than 3.3 million in money. It looks like they got a whole bunch based on preying on airdrop rewards in an email saying click here if you want to claim your airdrop rewards. So again, be very, very careful. Much like we say for like Discord and Telegram, protocols are not going to contact you first, essentially. So you're not going to get 99% of the time, you're not going to get a credible link out of an email. You're not going to get a credible link out of a DM. We always say, don't trust, verify. I'm going to put that damn thing as a ticker down here coming across the bottom. Don't trust, verify. If you see something that looks like a claim, again, unless it's like literally that moment, which it never will be. In fact, most of those windows are trying to get you to act quickly. Stop, breathe, check out your official links, and question if something is legitimate. Most times, if it is not legitimate, you will know immediately.
Yeah. Also, don't do crypto on the same computer you check your email. That would be another pro tip.
Or just in a different browser, all right? So,
yeah,
just try and compartmentalize everything. They're looking to catch you napping, where you don't realize that you've done something. So again, making sure that, and going back to everything we teach in our mastermind and in our free groups, obviously, just be vigilant. Just keep your eyes open. It's disgusting the lack of humanity that people have with regards to, stealing from people without any remorse. But that's the world we live in. So please be very careful. And again, I don't want to run. I feel like I'm running through like the first 20 minutes of this is literally everything is out to get you. But if you're not careful, you can easily be gotten into this industry. So making sure you have strong operational security is of the biggest priority when you're coming into this space. So keep that in mind as an investor. Treat it like you don't want somebody stealing your real estate or anything like that. Treat it on the same level when it comes to your crypto. Related, malware on Mac OS, which is normally a pretty damn high walled garden. Multiple malware has been coming out. Specifically, it looks like impersonating things like Exodus Wallet, a couple of lesser known wallets that we don't normally, recommend or use. Again, not financial advice, do your own research. But in our mastermind, we recommend Rabi above all and then MetaMask. On Ethereum wallets, I don't use Exodus. I know, Jangle, you have in the past, and I think you still have one sitting around, but be very careful on wallets that you download, specifically not from an official app store. So just kind of, again, due diligence. That's the key. Thoughts, Jangle, so far on these?
Yeah, I haven't used Exodus in a while. When back in the day, I used to play around with it, but yeah, I am seldom reinstalling wallet software. Definitely, if there's ever any urgency in any sort of messaging, that you have to act quickly or bad things will happen, that's always a red flag. So anytime there's FOMO, there's urgency, there is like an unrealistic upside, sounds too good to be true, or forces you to act now, those are always red flags. And just always know what you're signing. Never sign anything that you don't recognize. Use a hardware wallet, use a different device for crypto. And anytime you see those red flags, just pause. It can always wait. Sleep on it. If there's something, no airdrops can ever make you claim right now. If there's ever a countdown time or anything like that, avoid it. And then, ask us if you ever have any doubt.
Agreed. What else should they do, Jangle, if they're curious about what to do?
Just hit that like button and hit that subscribe.
Yeah, baby.
Some might say smash it. Oh, what have I become? Yep.
Yeah, and again, our goal here is to make sure that anybody who sees this video feels the passion that we feel for on-chain finance, for DeFi, for crypto investing overall. And we want you to be a part of how the future of how we're going to be doing business. This is how we're going to be living in the future. We want you to do it in a safe and secure manner, one that obviously, if you've been around for a long time, you're going to do what you're going to do. But this message is really more for people who have friends who want to go out and, get into buying some Bitcoin, understand how they can make their money work for them. You got to be able to do it safely and securely. That's why we're here. We're here to be that lighthouse there in these rough, choppy waters. Always look for the lighthouse. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, don't get wrecked. Don't give your money to hackers.
Exactly.
Then they have more funding, so that's bad.
Exactly. Don't be like the SEC. There's that segue. Woo.
GG.
One thing too. So we just talked about, the exploit coming to Mac OS. We don't recommend that you do DeFi services on your phone either. That's also another vector, a threat vector. There's a lot of really savvy programmers out there doing apps for your phone. That's why we don't recommend people using their phone to do DeFi as well. Most of these transactions that work well, and at least in our experience, have just been on a web browser. And that's the beauty of doing crypto investing. You really just need a web browser. So practicing proper operational security throughout that, which we have through all of our resources, is going to be key. So the SEC was hacked 2 weeks ago when they put the day before they had their Bitcoin ETF. Interestingly enough, they fell victim to a SIM swap attack because they didn't have proper two-factor authentication on the Twitter account, something that you all should be doing. And then they asked to have it be turned off for 6 months. So ultimately, you're hearing more and more of these SIM swap accounts, and it happens to everybody. It happened to Vitalik, so it's like, just be very, very careful when you're out there. Limit everything that you can do in DeFi to a web browser and a secure environment. You should be good to go. And we're not saying that
SMS two-factor authentication sucks. Use
exactly.
Use TOTP.
Use TOTP through Authy or any of that kind of stuff. So, and again, we're not trying to be paranoid or overly cautious. This is your hard-earned money.
I'm paranoid.
That's fine. You're gonna take these digital coins out of my cold dead hands.
My doomsday bunker, my iodine tablets, my hardware wallets, and my AR-15s, and be buried with all of them.
And your gold-plated hardware wallet carrying pouch that you carry on your person.
Yeah.
And the 17 people.
That is cap. That is cap.
That's cap? Oh, my bad. Do you separate your seed phrase and give it to 3 people in various latitude and longitude coordinates across the globe?
Yeah, there might be some Horcrux methodology going on.
Nice. That's what I'm looking to hear. If you have interesting security constraints that you do with your seed phrase and stuff like that, feel free to share in the comments. I want to know.
Drop them down below in detail. Really?
Yes. Without giving away your seed phrase, let us know what is the most interesting way that you have secured your seed phrase. I know people that have put them in mason jars and buried them in concrete capsules below the ground. That's no joke.
That is don't tell us. I don't want.
Yeah, don't tell us. But at the same time, I'm curious to know. I mean, there are a lot of people who do interesting. There's a lot of great products as well out there. Talking to friends, people that are not sponsors here, obviously, like Impress Seed and Bill Fodel, all these different things that are out there to help with that. Make sure you utilize something to help you be vigilant with your security. So, something I want to talk to you specifically about, Jangle, very interesting. Sunday, bug inside of Nethermind validator software took down 8% of the validator network. Pretty quickly resolved. For those who don't know, there's a large network of validators, obviously, that make up the Ethereum blockchain validation network. There are several different software types, but the 3 major ones: Nethermind, Geth or GoETH, Go Ethereum, I guess, GETH, and Besu. Those are the 3 major ones. There are some smaller ones out there, but those are the 3 the largest. By far, Geth clients make up the largest wedge with over 85% of the validator populace. So ultimately, something like this, maybe a wake-up call to the community that there needs to be a little bit more spreading of the pie with regards to different types of clients that need to be out there. So there's not some type of, not necessarily a 51% attack, but a majority attack or just a majority takedown of the network overall. What are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I think the main concern here is that, so there's a concept, right? Client diversity. How many different Ethereum clients are there? And then what is the distribution of ETH stake amongst those different clients? So according to this article, 84% Geth. I didn't realize it was that bad. I feel like
it's that bad.
Worse. Client diversity has gotten worse over the last year. I feel like it used to be better than this at one point. But the concern is not necessarily for the like security of the network. It's mainly like an uptime and slashing thing. Like if Geth were to have a critical issue, then you would not be able to produce new blocks and come to a consensus if 84% of the validators are not functioning. So then it would, you'd have maybe downtime for however long it would take to fix that issue. During that downtime, all those operators are getting slashed, right? Not slashed, but they're offline, so they're not getting rewards, and they're trickling away some of their ETH. It's not at a very high rate. It's similar to the rate at which it would be earned, I believe. So it wouldn't like destroy a large portion of all the Lido staked ETH or Rocket Pool ETH or something like that. So, but again, you don't want downtime for the network, obviously. So, what do? You encourage client diversity. So if there's no single client that is responsible for more than a third, ideally, or even less than that, more than 20% of the blocks being mined and the stake of ETH, then any of them can go down and it would be fine. Like what happened here, Nethermind only represents 8% of the validators, so it has an issue. Okay, anybody running Nethermind has an issue, but it gets fixed and there's no haltage of the network. You still have sufficient uptime across the entire sample size. So people are now worried that if what happens, something similar happening to Nethermind happens to Geth, there could be an issue. This is not the first time this has happened. When there was the merge actually, and then the Shanghai update, the second half of the merge, we had downtime in certain clients, but the diversity was sufficient enough so that the overall network as a whole continued. But this is something that every network struggles with. Once you have a dominant leader, that leader gets more documentation. People are more familiar with it. It's easier. It's like a what is it? A winner take most kind of market, but you just need to have some sort of mechanism in place to encourage diversity to increase the resilience of the network. But overall, is this a big deal? I mean, not today. Could it ever become a big deal if something happens to Geth? Yeah. Maybe not like a world ending or Ethereum ending deal, but like an inconvenience for anybody trying to use the network or any business built on top of Ethereum while Geth is down. You might have minutes or hours or potentially days where blocks couldn't be produced if Geth were to have a critical issue preventing it from being functional. So you want to avoid that.
And hopefully L2 scaling helps minimize as much of this impact as possible, moving forward.
Yeah, but even if you have a lot of transactions offboarded L2s, if the main, L1 still stops producing blocks, those L2s can't settle to L1.
True.
I assume. I don't know if the whole blob space and 4844 thing would shake that up. I assume it wouldn't, in that each one of these clients would have to be still producing, still functional to produce blob space. Maybe there's a world where there's a bug in producing block space in L1 transactions, but it's still able to process L2 transactions. Like maybe that's a possibility. But yeah, the main thing is that you just don't ever want to be in a situation where there's a client that represents a super majority of the network and is not functioning for any period of time.
Yeah, I mean, even with like things like parallelization that we're hearing about with like Monad and with Neon and some of these other, these other clients that are looking to do parallelization, that wouldn't help either. So ultimately, client diversity is the key. Hopefully, we can get a nice compromise here. Dan mentioned FireDancer, at least for the Solana side, something they're looking to do, like a lightweight client that can make it easier to at least do execution with large scale. And even looking at some other models, like how Thorchain has churn, so that certain validators are taken offline for a specific amount of time, so there's always a pool of trusted validators in there, that type of thing. Those are all things that can happen. So we'll see. But just to it's always good to be on your toes, and that's something that happened on Sunday that kind of made a lot of people kind of question how things are working. So hopefully with 4844 we can possibly the Denkun upgrade, which is happening next couple of months, that'll bring some stuff to it. So Jangle, I wanted to ask you about online crypto churches. Are you familiar with the Kingdom Wealth Exchange?
I am not.
I mean, it's one thing to be rugged by an anon dev, right?
Oh no.
But what do you do?
Oh no.
What do you do when your pastor rugs you?
Oh my god.
This is the Kingdom Wealth Exchange. They had an online coin called Index Coin. I mean, he literally came out and said the charges are Caitlin and I pocketed $1.3 million. I just want to come out and say those charges are true. That is unreal. I don't know how to feel about this whole thing, but he put out a full 9-minute video saying that the Lord told him to sell with no exit. But take some of that money. Do a divine remodel of your house because the Lord told.
He didn't say divine remodel. No way.
He did.
No, home remodel. The Lord told us, dude. Man, great background though. Great. Is that a Zoom background? You think that's his actual house?
No, I think that's a Zoom background. I mean, it's like, I mean, it could be.
I
mean,
would
it's
pick
Colorado.
a more shabby Zoom background for that.
I would too.
I would
dress in tatters.
Yeah, I wouldn't be flexing your lakefront estate there.
Yes.
In this YouTube apology video. Yeah. Hey, you know, trust no one, not even us. Don't trust anybody.
There's no divine authority here in the Web3 space. Whether you're a parishioner of the Victorious Grace Church, yeah, I mean, interestingly enough, they didn't escape the tax loophole for having a church online, but the significant sum went to a divine-backed home remodeling. I just saw that and I was like, Jangle needs to fund this with every ounce of his being.
Man, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Don't buy. It was some random shit coin that he was selling, or what?
It's their coin from the Kingdom Wealth Exchange. The I guess the main token index coin, INDX coin.
Wow, 300 investors, 3.2 million.
That's a lot of tithing, brother.
Yeah, I mean I don't think that counts as tithing. I don't think that there's any official tithing happening on crypto rails yet. And if
Not
so,
yet.
If so, make sure you've got receipts that, you know, it's going to the needy or, you know, to other, you know, missionary or church efforts, not divine home remodeling. Oh man, dude.
Yeah, I don't think the IRS is going to give you a break on those taxes. I don't think they're going to find it to be charitable.
No.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah,
I mean, here's any like mainline Christian churches. Like, does the Catholic Church take stable coins? Like, do they have that infrastructure?
I don't know. Would most of the, you know, famous mega churches?
You know, when you go to the long tail, you know, perhaps you get some. Well, you obviously got this guy issuing his own shitcoin, so I don't know at what point.
I mean, I guess you wouldn't after the recent IRS ruling where you have to pay extra taxes over, you have to KYC over 10K in crypto.
Yeah.
Ooh. Wow.
Well, I mean, I'm sure. Do you have to KYC? Just, you know, I guess if it's a small amount, no, you don't. So,
man, that's just a shame. That's tough. Yeah. That's a shame. This is not a man who represents the cloth, nor the true values of the
I think he's just a guy who makes videos on the internet who started a shitcoin. I think I think we're using the term pastor pretty loosely here. I don't know if there's any. I guess, you know.
It's in his Discord handle. What are you talking about, Jangle? He's got it. Well, I guess I don't know if he bought a blue check mark, then maybe he might be more.
Yeah.
Man, that is wild.
Get Saint Rug pull out of here, dude.
I mean, I gotta give it to him. I mean, if he's got the Shure SM7B, you know, with the boom arm. That's some classy. Classy gear. If you're gonna be preaching to your group, yeah, that's good stuff, brother.
I
You know,
wonder.
only
I
the
wonder what he talks about.
only the best for the Lord, bro.
Oh man, this is we're teetering on the edge of blasphemy here.
You're right. I just wanted to bring it to your attention because I couldn't believe this was an actual thing. But yeah, obviously he's going to be.
I believe it. I believe
Yeah,
it.
yeah. There
I
nothing
definitely
shocks me
believe
in
it.
this group.
I'm
Nothing
sure
shocks
this
me.
is at least the 50th time this has happened. I'm sure this has happened a few times.
Oh yeah. But I'll tell you who it's not happened to, sir.
It's really a tale as old as time, honestly.
I
mean,
know.
It's just now we're doing it on crypto too. Okay, go ahead.
It's like, why? I mean, do we have like? Is there going to be a Church of Tether at some point? You know, ultimately they're approaching 10 billion in.
Yeah, in 3 months. Yeah,
It's
100 billion crypto.
crazy.
Yeah, no, it's Tether truthers get wrecked. Really, honestly, Tether is the second most profitable crypto related enterprise, I guess you could say.
I mean, they've popped. They've.
Well, we don't have
popped,
Binance. I don't wonder if Binance makes more than Tether. You think?
You know,
Probably.
I would say no, because Tether is. You know, they've invested in mining infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they're making hand over fist profits on the daily.
And honestly, they invested in a lot of mining infrastructure while all the miners were going bankrupt in 2023. Yeah. And Tether was printing money because interest rates are and were still high, but all of the crypto assets were super depressed. All the mining stocks were going under, and they were just buying up tons of it. Yeah, dude, that's wow. It's a shame that as a outside investor, I don't have access to Tether because they are printing money.
They sure are. I mean, obviously we make the joke about Tether to $5, but I mean, that's clearly not happening. But at the same time,
well,
it's
anything's
like,
possible.
Anything's possible. What are they going I mean, it's like, do they come up with an airdrop governance coin for Tether soon?
No, I think they got it figured out. I don't think they really.
I don't think they need to, right?
Double down on this whole stablecoin thing and keep that going.
Yeah, if we see him in Denver, just don't. There's no need to. Just like, hey, you guys got this on lock, man. There's no need to.
Well, I don't even know if you will see them because apparently it's like, I don't know how many people work at Tether. It's like less than 50. I think it's less than 20. I think it's like a very small amount.
Really?
Yeah. No, it's like they have the highest like revenue per employee out of any business that I'm aware of. I think it's like the highest or one of the highest in the world, like profits per employee, companies that exist.
Yeah, we just did it wrong, bro. We should just done a stable coin.
Yeah.
Rip. Let's learn, man.
Hey, maybe we will. Just drop a like and comment if you'd like to see us launch a stable.
It won't be religious. Bucks. It will not be religious in nature.
Secular jangle bucks. But if you stake them for a certain period of time, they do become divine.
They become soulbound. Oh, you see that?
The anointment process.
The ascension process with soulbound tokens. Oh, that's just gross. Man. What we talked about. I can't believe this is the life. I can't believe that's actually news. It's just crazy. I would not have seen this 4 years ago. Not even close. Not even close. We're too busy trying to, farm frog tokens off of Pancake Swap or something like that. This is how far it's come has just become a bit crazy. But I'm here for it.
I think that really DeFi hardly even existed 4 years ago. Like
I know.
The whole DeFi summer hadn't even happened yet.
I know.
No compound incentive program. No Polygon. I mean, it existed, but nobody used it. And yeah, now we have false prophets launching their own shitcoins.
I know. Soon you're gonna have I mean, what if we have a zkEVM soon with with similar things like false prophecies? So there's an interesting. We've been talking about it for weeks, almost months now. BRC20 is interesting, right? Because there are no DeFi rails on the Bitcoin Lightning Network. Most people would prefer to not have any at all. L2s are fine, right? That could settle if they had data access to the layer. And What's interesting is that there is now a supreme race to bring this functionality. Interestingly enough, and we talked about this, I think we talked about last week. How on earth are they going to make an EVM layer, a layer 2 rather, with Bitcoin as the gas token? But that's exactly what multiple projects are doing. Conflux, known as the Chinese Ethereum, has launched their plan to have a Bitcoin layer 2 in May, which is not that far away. Bitfinity, also based on ICP, not the Insane Clown Posse, but the Internet Computer Protocol. That's coming very soon. Botanics, something that we talked about in our Beacon Digest, as a project that could be happening, is having an actual hackathon very soon. For anyone who's interested, I'll put it in the show notes, the links in the show notes, if you want to be a developer for any of the projects on there. So, it's interesting. I was like, last Friday rather, I was trying to figure out exactly how that would even work, because it wouldn't, like, how do you get native BTC as a gas token on an EVM chain?
I don't know, but like I've been saying, I think that a lot more developers are building these Bitcoin L2s, and they're kind of happening. So we'll see. I think that they can definitely get a few $100 million in TVL over this year, and just based on literally, I have no other information other than the amount of developer interest that I've seen kind of building around Bitcoin L2s. So that's cool. I'm excited to use them whenever they are functional and they have products for me to use.
Yeah, I don't have it here, but we talked about maybe like 2 months ago, Rootstock, they forked Uniswap onto BTC L2s. I think it was onto Stacks, and I forgot the name of it. It's not Oku, it's something else. But still, I mean, it's interesting that they've made it this far. It just shows that they're probably going to come even further in the next couple months. So what was like a fad with inscriptions is going to most likely blow up into something interesting. Now, is there going to be enough investor sentiment to really care and bring TVL to these platforms? That's a different story. But the fact that there's a lot of building, a lot of brain juice going to these, and we're probably going to see some tracks on this on some future crypto events too, some future hackathons. So
yeah, there will.
There will definitely be.
There will. When the market is frothy, there will be things that we discover that have been being built and launched right now on Bitcoin L2s. Just like every bull market, there's always the infrastructure that's created the products that are created, the seeds that are sown during the bear end up popping up and getting frothy during the bull market. So I think that there'll be new products from Bitcoin L2s that people can use. There will be things made possible by Eigenlayer, by Celestia, by some of this infrastructure stuff that can create new use cases that weren't possible last bull market. I think we have to wait and see.
I think Dan's right.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, maybe because a lot of people are trying to figure out what is the utility outside of store of value for Bitcoin, and I think we're finding that very quickly with this technology that's probably going to keep running. Speaking of technology that might be running or not running, one of the big this is in our membership, they were talking a lot about this airdrop claim for SatoshiVM. Looks like they did some pretty shady shit. Don't know exactly what happened, but some detectives were watching a team wallet swap a whole lot of SAVM for ETH. That gives me red flag rug vibes right away. So not sure exactly what's going on. People thought it was probably going to be a rug. Community is flooding left and right. And then for whatever reason yesterday, there was a huge whale who bought in super low. So be careful. This is still speculative. There is not a whole lot behind this. Very early. If you're looking to possibly wait to see how this matures, probably the best course of action right now I know for me personally, it's a wait and see for me with Bitcoin L2s, mainly because I want to see more exactly on how they work before I add any of my allocation that way. Obviously, there's some heat there. I like heat. I am risk on with that kind of stuff, so I'm happy to consider, if there's some money to be made in that area. But outside of that, I don't know, Jenks. I'm still wait and see on that.
I am. I mean, no, I'm not touching any of this stuff. What heat are you referring to? The rug pull heat?
No. Just the heat of like, obviously, Unisat,
Uh-huh.
BRC20, multi-bit, with bridging to Solana from we talked about last week. There is going to be a lot of TVL moving that way. Maybe not from powerful institutions, but definitely from a lot of hungry apes. There's going to
Yeah,
be
I'd rather own the infrastructure and not all these random shit coins around like the hot ball of money.
Mhm.
I'd rather, like, if I want exposure to Bitcoin L2s, like, just own Bitcoin. If you want exposure to just own the core asset like Bitcoin, Solana, whatever. And then I have my opinions on a few infrastructure projects that are you know probably higher beta and higher risk. But as far as going out and buying actual tokens for random Bitcoin L2s and then BRCs and all that, I have no interest in it. It's a bit too volatile and too hot and too speculative for me.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, and that's exactly what I was hoping you would say. Uh, you kind of have to step back and look at everything that's being shown in front of you, and you have to make a decision based on your allocations. What makes the most sense? Don't run out there and do not yeet a whole bunch of money at this, because you're probably not going to make most of it back. And even if you do, you just got lucky, in my personal opinion. Fundamentally, we have yet to see really strong fundamentals or any reason to fundamentally, put a whole bunch of money towards something like this as a reliable asset class or primitive to stake into your allocation. So that's all. Not trying to throw water on the fire. We're not trying to rain on anybody's parade. We're just saying, yeah, it's cool. I've seen a lot of people shill this, but when it comes to being in the right mind, you got to make sure it fits. Neither myself or Jangle are responsible for that, by the way. It's your allocation, it's your portfolio. It's up to you.
Yeah, buy shitcoins if you want. I don't like it, but it's America or wherever.
What did you call them?
Shitcoins. Buy shitcoins if you want.
I thought you said thick coins. I'm like, thick coins? Tell me about these thick coins.
I got some SimpDAO NFTs to show you. Remember that? Bro?
Yeah. Thick coins with 2 C's. Love it.
Yep.
Love it.
SimpDAO.
Mm.
Are those? I wonder how Irene DAO NFTs are doing. Let's see. Maybe it's time to scoop it up.
That's a good question. I'll be honest. I'm surprised there isn't more movement on this, specifically with like Friendtech and SocialFi. Why haven't there been more unsavory types of people trying to make off the business model?
Wow.
Because to me,
Irene DAO is really low. It's really cheap.
Huh. I mean, I'm not going to buy it, but at the same time,
it's 0.04.
Oh my God, that's
highest
terrible.
offer is 0.01. You could probably
that is terrible.
So wow. Let me look at the analytics on this. What did this? Because I remember this ran to like this was.
Yeah, that was straight heat 18 months ago, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they were near a half an ETH at one point. But yeah, I guess, SimpDAO market is at an all-time low.
I guess we're just going to have to say that GameFi is going to be a hotter narrative than SimpDAOs.
I have my concerns about GameFi as well, really. But we'll see, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about so in your opinion, I'll just throw this out there. What do you still think is the best product market fit for DeFi in the next 12 months?
Yeah, stable coins, money, ETH is money, and then like permissionless lending and swapping and derivative dexes.
Yeah. I could see that. I do think that there's still, I still think that that GambleFi is still a huge, narrative that is probably just going to be in pockets. Some people may just think that it's always going to be there, but I do think there's still room for that type of stuff to run, specifically with like prop betting. Um, God, I don't watch TV much anymore, Jangs, but like just watching TV and literally seeing the amount of prop betting that's available to the everyday person
What
is
is that? Is that like
wild.
sports betting?
Yeah, like DraftKings, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
I had no idea that this was so mainstream already. I mean, I was like, oh, that's cool. But then I
Mhm.
heard that, the whole NIL rule for college athletes with endorsements. I mean, there's a lot of changes that I was not expecting. And I think, crypto is going to be pretty similar. It's interesting because I thought there'd be more room for public goods this year. And maybe there still is. Maybe we'll see things like refi. We'll see things like public goods. I think there's going to be a huge restaking narrative. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, fantasy football, they talk about spreads and everything now too. So, very, very interesting. One thing I will talk about, which will kind of be the last thing we talk about today, is, looking into, I'm just going to assume it's Zuzulu. Last May, Vitalik had a 2-month retreat in Montenegro that I guess was so popular that they're now going to be handing out grants for spin-off events called Zoo Villages. We take great pride in our in-person events here at Beacon, and ultimately this is kind of something similar where people of like-minded interests can come together and form pop-up cities to come up with all kinds of stuff, I suppose. I'm not privy to exactly any type of policy changes or initiatives that came out of this first Zoo Village from last year. Are you familiar with this event,
Yeah,
Jangle?
I've heard of it. It's not just really a crypto thing. It's just a bunch of nerds camping, right?
I suppose glamping. I would figure it's glamping and not camping, but
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it seems like futurist techie people get together and talk about the world and the future. It's like it's maybe like kind of like Burning Man, but for futurist techno optimist people.
Yeah, interesting.
Good for them.
Yeah,
Probably
good for
surprised.
them. If you've been to one of these, tell me in the comments. What was it like? I want to know. Um, Obviously, with the world being in the state that it is, it's always interesting to see people get together and congregate and converse about issues, regardless of what the platform is. So I'm always curious to see, what things like this do. I mean, 2 months. It's a long time to be with Vitalik Buterin. Yeah. Would you have gone to this had you known about this last year?
I think last time I heard about it was I don't know, maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah, it went from
Would I
March to
go?
May.
I don't know. I think it's like an invite only thing.
It might, you're right. It was an invite only thing. But had you received an invite, would you have gone?
I don't know how long it lasts. It's a whole month. Yeah, I don't know. There's probably I mean, there's probably some cool people there. It's probably worth a month to go talk to the people there. And I like to
Yeah.
camp. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited about East Denver and seeing most of us come together and, just exchanging ideas and just making memories and talking about our industry. I'm excited to see, what happens, at the largest crypto event in the world that happens every year. So with that said, that's all I got for today. Anything else you want to talk about, James, before we head home?
well, we're here every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Free training every Friday if you want to get involved in DeFi and don't know how on our Beat the Banks platform every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. So go and check that out. Subscribe if you haven't so you know whenever we're about to go live. Hit the like button. Helps the channel grow. We appreciate you. And we'll see you here next week.
Yep. This Friday, I'll be talking about the killer app of crypto that you may or may not know about. Get to find out what it is on Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. With that said,
07.
07, have a great day. Enjoy your Wednesday. Keep winning. We'll see you next time on the Beacon Roundtable. Bye.